Well, Growers Edge, I think, has made us more money by allowing me to survey the local bids that I'm in the area that I want to sell my grain. The local elevators and the ethanol plants know that this information is out there, so they've got to be competitive if they want to get the grain. You know, we've been able to maximize our return on our farm.
Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name's Cody Bills, this is Brock Shimano. Today is November 11th, a Monday. Following a WASDE report last Friday, let's turn right over to the Firetip trading platform and see where we're at here today. Corn for December trading up 8 cents. We had beans for the January contract up 5 cents. Wheat in Chicago trading down 3.5 cents, continuing its move lower after that November WASDE report on Friday. In Kansas City, wheat also trading 2.25 cents lower. Brock, why were we trading down here, and what do you think we have to come in the future?
You know, we're off just a little bit here for wheat, both in Chicago and Kansas City, but actually we had a pretty positive day for corn and soybeans. You know, for corn, if we take a look at the daily chart here for the December contract, you can see that we've had a couple of days of positive gains here following that WASDE report that we got last Friday. I think a lot of what we're seeing here is some short covering by commodity funds in general. They've been incredibly short over the last couple of months here. Today we saw them buy about 12,000 corn contracts, so I think that continued the move that we saw start on Friday. We did run into some resistance on the bottom side of that channel that we were trading in for the better part of about a year or so. That was right in the 438 area. I would imagine that that's going to provide a little bit more resistance here. If we get some good fundamental news, push us up above there, we could make a little bit of a run towards 450, but I would imagine that you know, these rallies that we're seeing here for corn in particular, we need to take that and use that as an opportunity to make some sales here. I think you know, most of the potential still lies to the downside. I think we are going to retest those lows that we printed before the USDA WASDE reports on Friday. You know, and on the outside chance, I think we could get down to $4 here in the near future.
So there's a possibility, really. I mean, what you're saying here is that you're thinking that this is just short covering. This isn't a fundamental change in the corn market. It's just a bull rally in a bear market?
That's exactly what I'm saying. You need to take these as an opportunity to make a sale. We still know that there's an incredibly large crop out there. We're going to have incredibly large ending stocks, no matter if we're at 1.8 billion bushels or 2 billion bushels. You know, there's not a big difference there as far as in the eyes of traders right now.
You know, let's just take a look at soybeans here, because I think this chart is quite interesting. You know, soybeans is one of those that had a nice reaction to the price, or to the report that we saw on Friday. Really, there wasn't a ton of bullish news there. The only thing was that global ending stocks was missed by about 2 million tons there, and I think that helped move this market higher. But the question is, how much higher can it go? If you take a look at the daily chart here, this is a daily chart of the January contract, and you'll notice that where we have this 50-day moving average hanging right above us, we came up, we kind of bumped on that 50-day moving average. That was a resistance level, and of course we're right around this big $13 price level. So the bottom line here is, I think we're going to have some resistance up here. If we're able to push through this, we got to keep in mind that we'll probably have some resistance from this previous high. But one of these really, the pattern that I'm noticing here is really, it's what's called an expanding triangle, and it's kind of signaling a little bit of chaos here, a little bit of lack of direction. And what happens in these expanding triangles is that typically you have a trend, and here in this case, you know, we had trend moving higher, then we pulled back, and we are kind of consolidating, and typically consolidation is within a range. What happens with these expanding triangles is that as you move higher, you almost trigger you're sending false signals to traders out there. You go to move higher, and of course you fail. You end up pushing lower past the lows, but you fail to continue that trend, and then you're coming back up. So it's kind of whipsawing. It's sending some mixed signals, and I wouldn't be surprised if in this instance this sort of trend or this sort of pattern ends up being a little bit more bearish. I just simply don't see a lot of positive news for soybeans, barring any major weather events out of South America. And of course we're going to be going into that sort of weather market when we look at South America in the months to come. So just keep very close eye on South America, because that's going to really be one of the major drivers here for this soybean market going forward.
You know, I'm right there with you, Cody. I think we will retest those highs that we printed late last month in October. That was right around the 13-12 area, I believe. We might make new highs, but it's going to be short-lived, I believe. We don't really have much to push us back above that level, with conviction, I believe. So we will probably sell off there. But let's not forget about wheat, though. Let's take a quick look at the wheat chart here. Wheat has been trending down over the last few weeks. I continue to think that we're going to go down and retest those lows that we saw in late August, I believe it was. That was right around the 635.5, right around the mid-August time period. I do believe we'll probably retest those levels, but we'll probably get some buying interest. We have fallen off, after that rally that we saw over the last couple of months. We did fall off on the export sales, but I think we will see some more export business come back to us once we get down a little bit further towards those 635 levels.
Well, other than that, guys, that wraps up today's show. If you have any questions about what we talked about today, give us a call at 877-472-4607. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. We'll see you tomorrow here on Tuesday's show.